Her mother died giving birth to her 14th child, and 17-year-old Jahanara Begum walked into the throne room and quietly took over an empire of 150 million people. No coronation, no title, just a teenage girl, behind a curtain, suddenly running the richest state on earth. This is Mughal India in 1631. Her father is Shah Jahan, the emperor who will spend the next 20 years building the Taj Mahal as a tomb for his dead wife. And while he sinks into grief in white marble, his daughter picks up the actual empire and starts running it. Think about the scale of what she inherited. The Mughal Empire in the 1600s controlled roughly a quarter of the global economy, more than France, England, and the Ottomans combined. And the person signing off on its trade, its diplomacy, its imperial household was a young woman most history books reduced to a footnote next to her father's monument. Her name was Jahanara, and she didn't just inherit influence, she built it. Shah Jahan handed her something unprecedented. Half of her mother's estate, not a share split among siblings, half. The other half went to all the other children combined. He also gave her the title Padshah Begum, First Lady of the Empire, while he was still married to other women. That had never happened before, a daughter outranking living wives. But here's where it gets strange. She wasn't just a ceremonial figure draped in pearls. Jahanara owned ships. She owned the port of Surat, the single most important trading hub in the empire, the gateway where European merchants, Persian traders, and Arab fleets all paid duties to do business in India. Every bolt of silk, every chest of indigo, every sack of pepper moving through that port made her richer. She ran her own trade fleet. Her ships sailed to Mecca, to the Persian Gulf, to the spice ports of Southeast Asia. The English East India Company, the same company that would eventually swallow India whole, had to negotiate with her, a Mughal princess, their landlord, and she did all of this from behind a curtain. The Mughal court practiced purdah, the strict seclusion of royal women. She wasn't supposed to be seen by men outside her family, so she made the curtain itself a throne. Ministers came to her quarters, petitions arrived in her chambers. Diplomats addressed a voice they could hear but never see. The invisibility became her power, not her cage. She used her wealth like a sovereign. She commissioned the great bazaar of Chandni Chowk in Delhi, the market street that still pulses through Old Delhi today. Walk it now and you're walking through her design. She funded mosques, caravanserais, gardens. She wrote 2 books on Sufi mysticism, becoming one of the only Mughal royal women to publish under her own name. She corresponded with poets and saints. She held court in everything but title, and if you're already thinking this story has been hiding in plain sight, subscribe, because the empire I'm about to walk you through almost forgot her on purpose. Because here's the part that decided the fate of the subcontinent. In 1657, Shah Jahan fell desperately ill. The court assumed he was dying, and in Mughal tradition, when an emperor dies, his sons don't politely line up, they fight, to the death. The throne goes to the last brother standing. Shah Jahan had 4 sons, 4 serious contenders, and the 2 who mattered most were Dara Shikoh and Aurangzeb. And those 2 brothers, they were opposites in every way that counts. Dara Shikoh was the eldest, a scholar, a mystic. He translated the Upanishads into Persian, the first major bridge between Hindu and Islamic thought at that scale. He believed the 2 faiths spoke the same truth in different languages. He wanted an India where Hindus and Muslims shared a throne, not just a country. He was their father's favorite, the heir apparent, soft-spoken, philosophical, generous. Aurangzeb was the 3rd son, cold, disciplined, ruthlessly orthodox, a brilliant general who'd spent years on the empire's frontiers, leading armies, crushing rebellions, watching his brother get all the affection while he got all the work. Where Dara dreamed of unity, Aurangzeb dreamed of purity. A strictly Islamic state. No more syncretism, no more compromise. And standing between them was their sister, Jahanara, because Jahanara wasn't neutral. She had to choose, and her choice would tip the scales for an empire of 150 million human beings. She chose Dara. She'd raised him, in a way. They were close in temperament, both drawn to Sufi mysticism, both believers that the Mughal greatness came from blending cultures rather than crushing them. She poured her political weight, her wealth, her network of informants and allies behind her favorite brother. And here is where the tragedy locks in. She backed the wrong horse. The War of Succession that exploded in 1658 was savage even by Mughal standards. Aurangzeb was the better general. He outmaneuvered Dara at the Battle of Samagar just outside Agra. He marched on the capital. He imprisoned their father, the emperor, locking Shah Jahan in the Agra fort in a room where the old man could see the Taj Mahal in the distance, but never reach it. Shah Jahan would spend the last 8 years of his life as a prisoner of his own son, staring at the tomb he built for his wife. And Dara? Dara was hunted across India, captured, paraded through the streets of Delhi on a filthy elephant in chains. The people who'd cheered him as crown prince, now watching him in rags. Aurangzeb had him executed on charges of heresy. His own brother. His head was sent to their imprisoned father as a message. Now here's the question. What happens to the sister who bet everything on the losing side? You'd expect the worst. Aurangzeb was famous for eliminating threats. He'd just killed 2 of his brothers and imprisoned his father. Jahanara had publicly, financially, politically backed the man he killed. Instead, Aurangzeb did something nobody predicted. He went to his sister. He restored her title of Jahanara Begum. He increased her annual allowance from 1,200,000 rupees to 1,700,000. He treated her, in many ways, with more honor than their father had. Why? Historians still argue about it. Maybe it was guilt, maybe it was political theater, a way to legitimize a brutal takeover by keeping the most respected woman in the empire close. Maybe, somewhere under all that orthodoxy, Aurangzeb actually loved his sister. She had practically raised him too, but Jahanara was no one's puppet. She'd lived in voluntary exile with their imprisoned father for the 8 years until he died in 1666. She nursed him, she buried him. Only then did she return to court. And when she returned, she did something extraordinary. She argued with Aurangzeb openly. She pushed back on his religious policies, the reimposition of the jizya tax on non-Muslims, the destruction of temples, the hardening of the empire into something narrower and crueler than it had been. She didn't win those arguments. Aurangzeb was already becoming the emperor whose policies would, over the next 50 years, crack the foundation of the empire she'd helped hold together. The Mughal collapse that opened the door for British colonization, many historians trace its roots straight to Aurangzeb's reign, to the road that Dara's death paved, and Jahanara knew it. She watched it happen. The woman who'd run trade fleets and built markets and chosen sides in a civil war, watching the world she shaped come undone, one decree at a time. She died in 1681. She'd asked for a simple grave, open to the sky, covered only with grass so that the rain could fall on her and humble plants could grow. Walk into the Nizamuddin Dargah complex in Delhi today and you can find it. A small marble enclosure, no dome, no grand mausoleum, just an inscription she wrote herself. Let no rich canopy surmount my grave. This grass is the best covering for the tombs of the poor in spirit, the humble, the transitory. The most powerful woman in the Mughal Empire chose to be buried under grass, and the brother who built the Taj Mahal for his wife, he lies under one of the most extravagant tombs ever constructed by human hands, a monument so famous it eclipsed the daughter who actually ran his empire while he grieved. That's the thing about hidden history. The names you don't know often did the work the names you do know got the credit for. Jahanara signed treaties, she moved fleets, she chose an emperor, and we remember her father's marble, not her ink. Maybe that's the real twist. She didn't lose the war of succession. She lost the war of memory. If this rewired how you see the Taj Mahal, hit like and subscribe, because there are more erased figures like her waiting in the next one.